So let's talk about Bangkok. 7 years ago, I was here and I was talking to a few people, and one of the big companies in Thailand, it's in the top 10 companies, so over $10 billion per year in revenue, said, hey, we want to talk about WordPress. I said, okay. And I also kind of inserted myself in the conversation a little bit. But I went to the offices, spoke and everything, and they said, well, we're not sure if we want to use WordPress. It doesn't do headless, which is a particular technology. I said, wait, it does. But they said, no, this other thing does headless. And then they said, well, it doesn't do this, and we're not sure where to find developers either. And I was like, I have developers here. You know, I have friends in Thailand that do WordPress development. But they couldn't quite grasp WordPress as a technology. And sometimes it's much harder for big open source projects to have that same kind of storytelling, marketing than proprietary software companies do. And proprietary are the ones that are closed source and just have their own business. But this stuck with me because it's something I don't like to lose. And I think open source as a whole is incredibly important for the future of society, humanity, and beyond. So my WordPress journey, as I mentioned, started in 2009 or 2008, or even, no, it's 2008, I think, quite a while ago. And I was hooked because there was custom post types. I think at the time there's the plugin ecosystem. And with those things alone, I thought to myself, I can build anything I want. And I definitely could. You know, I could build the charity websites I wanted to build. I could build the large company websites, and I was getting paid. And it all felt really good. And we've seen WordPress explode from a time then from being, I don't know, 6% or 5% market share to 43% of the web, or installed on 43% of domains nowadays, which is just a phenomenal number in that regard. And we've seen many websites come along, like the New York Times, right? That's on WordPress. PlayStation blog, that's on WordPress. That's on our servers even, so we host that. Spotify, parts of Spotify are on WordPress. Sony is on WordPress. Harvard Gazette, so that's a newspaper for Harvard, and then the rest of Harvard is also on WordPress. So that's from us at Human Made. And then, you know, last but not least, NASA went on WordPress last year, which is just another great accomplishment. But you know, what's very interesting is that the noise that WordPress makes is always a bit quieter because it's not a private company that's always shouting and marketing. WordPress has no marketing team, right? That is a big challenge. Are you okay with the video? Okay. So let's talk about Thailand though, because we have a lot of WordPress here too. And the statistics are interesting because I pulled all the stats. So every site that is live in Thailand now. These are the new WordPress websites being built in Thailand every year. So that means that in 2012, Om created 100 websites. Is that about right? You created 100 websites back then? Yeah, so you were 10% of WordPress in Thailand at the time. And now, last year, we created 14,000 websites in Thailand built on WordPress, which is phenomenal. And when you compound and add these websites together, you get up to 73,000 websites. And I did not make this data up. I know it's a beautiful curve, but this is the actual data, which is quite fascinating. I didn't know it was like this, and it's always surprising because you look at open source projects and they are sometimes, again, just very under the radar. 70,000 sites is much bigger than whatever the next CMS is. And you might see a lot of advertisements or a lot of noise for a Webflow or a Wix or something else, but this is insane in terms of numbers. So I'm not sure what my next slide is. Oh, yes. So in terms of Google Trends, also, when we look at for Thailand specifically, last 5 years, again, WordPress is still the most popular in terms of search. So you can even, I think, add all the other ones together and all the other ones that exist, and you still won't get to the sort of search interest that exists for WordPress. which really gives you a big idea of the momentum that is behind WordPress and how much is there. Now, the interesting thing is, or before we get to that, WordPress 6.5 just came out in the last couple days, or today or yesterday. Absolutely install it, play with it in the sandbox. You don't even have to install it yourself. You can actually just play with it online. And it comes with a ton of new features. And for a project to just release this many changes in one go, whenever it wants to, is really phenomenal. It's an incredible sort of jump. And a lot of these are in the Gutenberg or block editor. And all makes us very happy because, oh yes, interactivity API is also here. But everything's more performant, everything's faster. There's a lot of like cosmetic things around fonts and covers and all that. So very, very impressive. But we still have a problem. And it's not specific to Thailand. It's in many countries which are not the US or the UK, where WordPress is a bit further away from the mainstream of, I think, like the barriers with like language, culture, it all takes a project a bit further away. And the way I've tried to understand this, I'm trying this. You guys are my first test subjects on this kind of diagram. But we have WordPress, the global brand, which we see. It's WordPress.org. You go on there, you download WordPress, you have all the plugins, you have all these different things. And then you have the local economy, which is us freelancers, agencies. Maybe there's a few plugin developers here too. And it's quite hard because you, at this level, don't necessarily have everything you need to be able to compete in your city against companies that may bring the whole kind of stack with. So an Adobe or a Sycor or Wix or whatever it may be very good at advertising in your city. But for an open source project that's somewhere else in the world and just has a local community, it's much harder. And this is where I think is the big opportunity for countries like Thailand, is to figure out this middle space. And I'll explain it a bit more. So the global brand at a very top level does a great job at branding itself. It offers the software. We have solutions, extensibility. We have the support forums, which work really well. It's open source, which is great. And then there's also media and just general like global marketing. But that doesn't mean that WordPress has a presence in Thailand. It doesn't mean that WordPress is popular in Thailand. It doesn't mean that CEOs or CTOs or anybody says, oh, we should go get WordPress because that's at the top of our minds, because that doesn't exist like that. And on the flip side, we have basically what's happening here, right? We are the community. You are all part of the WordPress community. Congratulations. We have builder events. So this is us as builders, right? So these are events where we're the builders. And then mostly consisting of freelancers and small agencies, right? Now the question is, how do you connect these two? How do you bring these two layers together? That's the question I'd love to be able to even just start having a conversation around. Because I think once we're able to figure that out, things go a lot better. So my first idea is creating a regional association. So potentially creating an association at the Thai level or the country level of different agencies, freelancers, and various people who who produce websites or just are servicing the industry. So it can also be hosting or whoever else. This is another good example where hosting, you don't have any of the hosting companies that are here and promoting WordPress for you. We have that in some of the Western countries where Pantheon, WP Engine, Automatic will be promoting WordPress also on your behalf, but we don't have that here unless there's a few small hosts that I haven't heard of. So being able to create that, well, that's an interesting sound. To give you an example, we have something called the Scale Consortium, and that is between us, global enterprise WordPress agencies. So a number of us agencies have come together to create that association at that level. So we have a unified presence where we share marketing, we share various material between each other, and then we'll write blog posts, we'll do case studies, and we put everything in one place so that we have a stronger presence to the market, so that we're able to show the market that we are essentially stronger together. And that is what buyers are looking for. It's much harder to go on your freelance website, your freelance website, your freelance website, whatever, to then figure out, oh, what does this WordPress thing do? So what is the representation of WordPress in Thailand? What is the highest level? Is that the biggest agency right now? So if I'm looking for WordPress services in Thailand, or to understand how is WordPress a good solution, do I go directly to the WordPress.org website, or do I go to the biggest agency and read some of their blog posts? Do we need something else in the middle, or that's allowing people to say, oh, this is helping me find a few freelancers, find a few agencies. Oh, I can find what are all the biggest websites built in Thailand, and that gives me confidence in the product. So these are the kind of things that are very important. I already talked about that. That's cool. And then the second idea to chat about are client events. So I already said this is a builder event, what we have here. It's us as a community coming together and talking about, hey, how do we make WordPress better? How do we build the community? How does everybody make a living off of WordPress? Because that's very important. Otherwise, we can't keep coming back. And to give you an example of that, we do that with our agency, but we do these online. So we did the future of WordPress with AI events, and we had about 1,200 people show up. And then we had also Matt Mullenweg, which is the co-founder of WordPress, come and speak. But the 1,200 are not really the number that we're interested in. It's the number which are our ideal customer profile. So how many people showed up which would actually be interested in using our services? And for that, we had 280 people, which is a great number. So being able to replicate these kind of ideas at the local level is also very important. And I'll give you, I'd say in Thailand, from the websites I've seen, which are the most popular in terms of WordPress, two verticals kind of stand out. One is publishing and media. That makes a lot of sense. So newspapers that are online. The second one, any guess? Go for it.
Say gambling or something?
No, not gambling. I don't think that's legal here.
Okay.
Nice try. Not yet.
Okay.
Biggest in Thailand. It's the second biggest vertical industry for WordPress. Come on, you guys build WordPress websites. I'm looking at you guys. You have the t-shirts on. How about universities and higher education? So a lot of Thai universities and higher education platforms are on WordPress. Many. So a good example of a builder event versus a client event is show off your WordPress website is what we do. And then saying how universities use WordPress for great outcomes or whatever is an example where we invite them to come to the events and present their learnings so that you are able to tell a better story for WordPress and higher education inside of Thailand. So this is where you're not trying to say, hey, I'm just looking for clients anywhere in Thailand, but you're coming from the bottom and saying, hey, this is where we're really strong. Let's develop that. Let's build that. Let's create more material around these things, because that's how we will grow and find our own niches. Another example, let's say we take the newspapers, and newspapers are still very popular for WordPress all around the world. The first example, which could be a builder event, would be let's just learn WordPress SEO. But another example is if we invite two newspapers and then we talk about how to use SEO properly to drive much larger results in terms of traffic or whatever, with publishers in mind. And that's how you start inviting clients to these conversations, because otherwise we're always talking between ourselves, which is a bit more of a challenge in terms of growth. So if we come back to this chart, and I talk about, we have this big brand that's far away in another land, or it's online somewhere, and it's completely out of the view of where clients are. And then we have our local community, and there's this big distance. What I'm saying is that we can bridge these two by having this kind of regional hub or association at the Thai level. If these agencies and freelancers come together to, let's say, brand white papers and case studies in the exact same way, you're doing potentially outreach, right? So you're looking at the websites that are already on WordPress and then reaching out to them and saying, hey, do you want to come to our WordPress event? Hey, right, we have an event on publishers, or we have an event for universities. Do you want to come? It can still be a meetup, right? Because this is open source, so we're still mixing the best of two worlds. And that would be then the client events as opposed to just builder events. So the two complement each other. It doesn't mean that you have to do one or the other. So I shot through a lot of this because I wanted this to be a bit more of an open conversation. And I'd really love to be able to be in a situation where in a couple years' time, instead of the same situation I had 7 years ago with this very large company, that I can actually be in a position where they recognize the brand, they feel they can find local agencies and freelancers to work with, that they have the confidence, and then that boosts the overall WordPress economy here. And I think that would be a great thing because I've seen a lot of talent here over the years, and I think it would be just amazing for everybody to find as much work as they'd like to building WordPress websites. So with that said, thank you very much, and let's chat about it. Cool.
Do you have any questions to ask with the Kunal?
Just have a quick question about the statistics.
Yeah.
Does it include the WordPress.com?
Oh, he's coming with the mics.
Okay.
If you have any question, please raise your hand so we can pass them along.
And I'll just say something quick. It's not so much that there's direct questions or whatever. I welcome questions, but I love a conversation about how we can actually grow the overall WordPress economy in Thailand.
Sure, but just one quick question.
Please. Yes.
Statistic that you just showed.
Yeah.
Does it include the WordPress.com website as well?
This will include WordPress.com websites if they are attached to a domain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So nothing. It will not include toy.wordpress.com.
I see.
Yeah.
But it's still quite small, right? I mean, it's not that high numbers here in Thailand.
It's not a crazy number, but at least the growth curve is nice, and it's, I think when you look at other countries, it's a lot more, and I think some of it also, don't forget that some of the domains don't necessarily, you might have Thai companies that are not using TH domains, so they might not show up on this, but I think some of the data is also, I'm not sure if they track absolutely everything, but from what they track and how they've tracked, at least there's a growth. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You guys have any questions?
Any question or do you have anything to discuss with Kunal? Do you have, please raise your hand so.
I have a question for you.
Why me?
Well, because you're the one who mentioned it. So I'm interested in your thoughts on why it's hard to find WordPress business in Thailand. Because you're an experienced freelancer and you're finding it challenging to find work, right?
Yeah. I think we have a lot of developers here, and they are fighting with the price. They keep pushing down the price. That who cheaper, I got a job. And after that, the outcome is the result of the project that it didn't go well. So they have a bad, so WordPress have the bad image from that. That I hire some developer and then they give you a trash, and then that thing happened in WordPress Bangkok Facebook group that I'm
Inside,
taking care of it.
yeah.
Yeah. So in that group, I almost cannot find a customer that match with my, my point.
And I think that's part of the challenge is because if you're trying to sell something, you can't rely on SEO to find you business, and you also can't rely purely on community groups to find you business either, right? So you have to go out and find the business, or build the community around the people that have WordPress websites, because I don't think they know about these meetups and all these kind of good things.
That's the reason that I've set the meetup every month. I try to continue every month.
Yeah, which I think is great. And then this is the difference then between the builder events, which is what's being organized in most places, and then the ones which are more client specific, where you say, I'm going to email every university that uses WordPress and invite them to a university WordPress event.
Yeah, I talked with Noom like 10 minutes ago about that. If I said the meetup that maybe in the specific in the industry, that when you're doing website like the university, what you should have in that website. Or if you are a client, you want to hire the developer, what the thing that you should concern if you're doing a university website, something like that, to outreach the customer.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and to bring them in the community. I've brought a lot of my customers to WordCamps, meetups, and different places, and it gives them a much better understanding of the market. So, yeah, absolutely. And what's your feeling on something like a Scale Consortium or any kind of directory or directory of services in Thailand for freelancers, agencies, all that? Similar to what we've done with Scale.
We don't have this one yet.
I know you don't. I'm saying, what are your thoughts?
Yes, it's a great idea.
But I think we need the magnet one, like Kun Thai, like Pimen.
I can help.
Yeah.
Sure.
To set the committee.
I think people should have I believe everyone should have a website.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone in Thailand should have a website. If you want to do like your own business, one person business, you must have a website. And I think that's the key point that I try to communicate to people around me. Actually, tomorrow I will go to teach WordPress. About 80 people. They will come to my event tomorrow to learn how to use WordPress. Half-day event.
Do you still have a spot for 2 people?
Yeah, you can come. Yeah. Actually, it's really near here.
Okay.
Co-working space, you can walk about 10 minutes.
Or who else has never used WordPress before?
Yeah, can come tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think we can start with the end consumer. I mean, general people, not business yet, and then we can just scale it.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. I'm really good at talking to people, I mean, end consumer, general audience. Would be a great idea.
บอกผมว่าเดี๋ยวผมช่วยประกาศให้ถ้าเกิดมันเป็นคอร์สที่เขาเรียนแล้วเรียนฟรีเดี๋ยวผมช่วยประกาศให้กัน
Yeah, before Songkran.
A good idea before Songkran.
It's going to be like more than 1,000 of people.
Wow.
My school is like about 30,000 people enroll in my other free courses. So I will email them and then invite them to WordPress course as well.
Very nice.
That sounds really nice.
We should have like people like us who have like a online presence
Yeah.
to help promote WordPress. Actually, I'm just listening to you. I just plan to do a lot of content on WordPress. If you like, my content can be ranked on the first page very easily in Thailand right now. Because
Yeah, of course.
how many people talking about it?
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think SEO, yeah, it's very easy, especially that I just showed you.
The good old days. I think SEO here might be like when I was competing for SEO 10 years ago. It was much easier.
For my opinion, I saw that there's a lot of people who are freelancers as a WordPress developers or WordPress designer or something like that.
Mm.
And as someone who who has worked in agency, so for my experience, a lot of our customers use WordPress quite a lot. So however, there is one thing that is missing for a lot of people is that there is no place to find the right people who work on the WordPress in Thailand. So in my opinion, I think that the idea to create the consortium or something like that, and also the idea related to list all the agency or freelancers, and also the way to pick up who is able to work on or some client or something like that is maybe way more useful for a lot of people who want to find some information about how they want to create a website. And also as you saw that there's a lot of websites that is using WordPress right now, so I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of people who want to find the place to hire the new people, hire the agency, and also freelancers.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think that was a challenge I ran into years ago, whereby in Switzerland, when people were looking for WordPress developers, they'd find a meetup group, and then just email me as the admin, and that was great for me because then I could just distribute work as I kind of wanted to, friends or whoever. But that's for buyers or people who are really looking for services who, they really put in the effort to try and find someone. And that's not necessarily the case with, there's so many options nowadays. So it's more important than ever to have such a directory.
Exactly. And also right now the WordPress is more accessible than ever. As you can see that there is a new editor like Gutenberg, or this right now
it's not too new.
Blog editor. Yeah, and also it's way easier for me to customize the homepage using the blog editors. And also as a freelancer myself, I created a lot of content using WordPress, so I know that the WordPress is quite intuitive for a lot of newcomers and also existing one as a person who used WordPress quite a long time.
Yeah, and I completely agree. And the interesting part is that WordPress, despite being 43% on 43% of installed domains around the world, it does not have a marketing team. So there's nobody there to market, there's nobody to create sales collateral. You have to create it locally. If you are a partner, or if you are an agency or a freelance partner for Wix, Webflow, whatever, you are on their directory with their marketing and everything. It's a very different concept, and to replicate that here, for years, whenever I do sales, and I've sold to Siemens, Red Bull, Kawasaki, whoever, and every time I have to sell WordPress, and then I have to sell my agency, and that's a lot of work because they might not always believe you as a small vendor, and that's where I think it's very important, or you have the opportunity as a community to come together and create these directories and the product marketing and put all the case studies together. Go for it.
I have one more comment.
Complaint?
Comment.
Oh, yeah. I'm joking. I heard you.
I think Thai developers, a lot of Thai developers, they want like a customized solution for their clients. And when we talk about customization, WordPress is not ranked very high in developer
compared to JavaScript.
Yes, something like that. JavaScript framework or other stuff that they use. I think that is I think the main problem right now with the how to say perception of Thai developers.
So it only took 40 minutes or so, and we got to the word perception.
Yeah.
And this is the big word, I think, is perception of WordPress.
Because I used to work at on group. They got like about 400, nearly 500 developers in their company. No one talking about WordPress.
Of course.
When their client go to, there is a software house. All is a very big software house, a local one, comparable to ThoughtWorks, something like that. Very the same scale in Thailand. I never heard they mention about WordPress at all. They use like custom solution, JavaScript framework, or maybe some other languages.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the main roadblock, I think.
That is a big problem, and this is exactly where I think when you have a directory like this, and then you also have case studies that are all in the same format saying, hey, we built this headless application using WordPress, we did this with WordPress, or whatever it is, then you start to show examples in a very consistent and well-marketed way. But otherwise, because, again, WordPress has no marketing team, a lot of the successes you might have as agencies or freelancers are just not shown to anybody. Nobody ever sees them. They might be on your freelance page and you might say, hey, I built this amazing thing, but no one's ever going to see it. And this is why trying to come together, I think, is one of the largest opportunities, because then every case study is in the same style, template, whatever, and you really have a large website that highlights some of the cases. Obviously, in different cases, a JavaScript application like the elections website that we looked at, that the team here built, is great on just as a custom app. But for a lot of website content-heavy, content-driven publishing kind of things, and WordPress just makes a lot of sense, and we don't talk about the successes enough.
I try to use Webflow for CMS.
I'm very sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry too. So I just got like a tryout and I terminate cancel my contract.
Yeah. You had a contract?
No, actually.
Yeah, I'm joking.
Okay.
So, what are you gonna do now?
What am I going to do?
Yeah, maybe
I'm going to fly away from Songkran. You guys have to figure out this stuff.
maybe we finish the session.
Cup.
We have a networking.
Yeah, sure, of course. That sounds good. Was there a question?
Hello everyone. So actually new in Thailand. I just arrived around 1 week. Now I just saw this event meetup and just applied.
Cool.
Interesting on WordPress. Actually, I'm not keep in touch with WordPress for 2 years or 3 years, I think.
Yeah.
Back in like 3 years, I just managed the website as an educational website or something like that. At the time, so we faced a lot of error or something like that. Oh, this is not about how to connect with the business. This is about how we can do better with WordPress or something like that. Yeah, actually, I'm here for like interesting or some kind of freelance or something like that. But as the brother said, so there's he cannot sometimes there's not enough skillful WordPress developer in the industry or something like that, so they cannot find something like that. It's what I want to know is that what is the criteria of the level, skill level in Thailand or something like that? Yeah, and so I had about the SEO, and so back in or when I managed the website, so I faced a lot of problem with the speed problem or something like that. So now what I want to ask is that does only WordPress is enough for learn like managing a website or something like that? Maybe there's some course like PHP or some additional PHP, so you can do some kind of coding, so that will be improve your WordPress speed or something like that. Do we need to learn that kind of things, or maybe only WordPress is enough for us? Or yeah, for this time.
Yeah, cool. I'll answer the second one before I think someone else can answer the first one in terms of the quality of skill, the skill level of WordPress and PHP in Thailand. But with regards to performance, WordPress has come a very, very long way. And if anything, it's one of these things that's people obsess over, and it's really gone very, very far at this point. So I don't think there's anything you could do alone that would be much different than using best practices, even without coding. So just in terms of structuring things correctly and then using the right caching plugins. Usually most hosts have their own caching plugin now, so they'll have their own recommendations in terms of how to structure everything. And then you can probably get a Core Web Vitals and the 98, 99 pretty quickly. Much easier than I'd say 4 years ago. So welcome back to WordPress, and you'll notice it's much faster now. And with regards to the skill level of developers, anybody want to take a shot at that? Did you want to take a shot at the first question? Do you remember the first question? Oh, you look at your guilty laugh. The skill level of developers here for WordPress. How does that compare to the rest of the world?
About developing WordPress.
That was your question? Yeah. How is the skill level of WordPress developers in Thailand compared to what you've experienced otherwise?
I'm not sure, but I saw even
Only a few people who
Yeah.
who are famous have online presence here.
So you would say that there's maybe a smaller group that fully understand WordPress and PHP and all that, and then there's maybe a much larger group which are kind of like website assemblers. So they know some ability to play with HTML, CSS, and just kind of change the colors and things like that. But a lot of these things have actually become no code, so you can do things through UI now. So it's become easier than ever. But you still have to understand the ins and outs of WordPress now. And WordPress has become, yes, you can probably get an easy start, but there's a lot of things now to learn if you really want to understand the full spectrum. So I would say that you can spend a lot of time. Before, you could spend a little bit of time to learn the entire WordPress UI, and now you have to spend a good deal more in terms of time to learn the full UI. And you'll get a lot of benefit from it because obviously you're not making hard changes to your WordPress install, but you're doing so in a way that's consistent across all your installs.
Right now it's full-site editing that we all need to learn.
But do you have like a learning resources to do like a technical stuff?
So the question was if there's any learning resources for technical stuff. I think there's been a couple books, and I mean, I'm not a developer, I'm a designer. But yeah, I'd say it's become a lot more complicated in that a lot of Gutenberg or the block editor is JavaScript. So knowing both PHP and JavaScript is very beneficial, especially if we start connecting AI to WordPress. A lot of that will, potentially go through JavaScript in one way or another if you want to create those custom applications. So yeah, I mean, Matt, the co-founder of the project, said, I think it was 2015 or 2016, learn JavaScript deeply. So that's already been a couple years. So if you're really going to get into back-end WordPress development, then it's PHP and JavaScript.
Okay. So nowadays I saw a lot of websites that they use WordPress as a backend, and then they use React or Vue or Next on the front end.
Next.js.
Yeah,
Next.
something like that. They use a WordPress as a database.
Content Hub.
Yeah.
Composable content management system.
Yeah, something like that.
And that's a whole headless trend. And I think, that's where WordPress became kind of old and boring in many ways, is because the new CMSs that came out said, we are composable, we are headless. And now these composable and headless CMSs are coming back around and actually building things that traditional CMSs have. So there's a big convergence in the market. So I think it feels like WordPress is going to have a very good year this year and next year, at the very least, which is very exciting.